Hey guys, my name is Kabi and today I'm gonna show you the next game I have in War Legends Open Beta. This time around I'm gonna play the 3v3 matchup. Previously I only showed you one-on-one so far and I decided to change this because we also have the team games in the lobby currently and players tend to play those really a lot. So we are having the mixed team. We have two darks and one light, and on the opposite side our opponents have the three light. And what I'm doing here is just checking what my opponents do. Being honest, I did that mostly because I witnessed a weird bug in my previous team game where I couldn't see those windows blinking to indicate that the worker is being built. But this time around it's just fine. But when I start looking at their bases, I thought that probably that would be a good idea for me to check out what do my teammates do from the beginning of the game, to be aware and to be able to react and probably prevent some troubles they might get into. I don't play the team games a lot, and even though I saw the nicknames in the chat, I don't really know how good or bad my teammates are and my opponents are, or rather how good they were, because I don't commentate the game live. But I prefer, as I already told in the previous video, I prefer to record the real gameplay so that you would be able to see the clicks and what I'm actually do in the game, not just showing you the replay, what the most people on YouTube tend to do, but whatever. I play pretty much the standard build you can do any other game, which means just update workers, then barracks, the farm, and I don't really haste with the tier 2, but after the second grunt I also add that. And I noticed that my left teammate started with the sawmill, or rather lumber mill it's called for the light faction, before the racks, so I saw that they might get into trouble against the first battle unit, so I kept watching and I was ready to rally my first goon to help the teammate, and that allows him to stop fighting with his workers against the swordsman, because that is not really a good matchup. Workers can fight, but they are really weak. I have the previous video on my channel that is called the Crazy Undead Rush, the game where I use the workers in the engagement actually, but mostly they were used to die and then to be transitioned into the skeletons, so that's completely the other business. So my first goon went up to 12 o'clock and saw that the guy is playing elves just normally, and then I went here to 1 PM and what I see here is a very fast tier 3 castle. I already know, and you already know if you watch all of my videos, that strategy might mean that the guy is taken up to the foxes, but since this is the team play, I actually think that he's taken up to the wind mages, because we recently upped wind mages, we changed the balance and made them stronger. So many players in the team games tend to go mass wind mages, and I see that probably that light blue guy is playing them. That means that he won't be able to attack really soon, but eventually it will be a hard thing to deal with. But first we must confirm, we must make sure that our teammate don't die, because the top left opponent is coming to left bottom teammate with those swordsmen. Apparently there are 2 barracks, and our guy is playing undead and don't really have that much. Apparently the player is not that experienced, so he's not even playing undead, he plays the fast tier 3 and rally a lot of his units, query a lot of his units, or rather queue them into the barracks. Yeah, I guess that is the correct word. I didn't came up with it really quick, so anyway, I'm coming at him with all the forces I have, and my rider comes first. That was the unit I was ordering in the base, and the rest of the army was fighting in the middle, but I withdrew from that fight to help out my teammate. And what I'm trying to do is to micro my rider so that it doesn't die. And it seems that I am quite successful. I don't lose anything in this engagement. And together with the allied forces we were able to defend the guy, and he didn't really lose much. I mean, maybe he lost a couple of workers, but could be much worse. And of course, after that we go straight on the chest. And luckily the chest is still there. I'd rather say that it's not exactly the luck, but the lack of the awareness from our opponents, because obviously while pushing they had to move out to take the chest, but they didn't make it, so at the 7th minute mark I'm able to take the chest that spawned on the 5th minute mark, so quite a good stuff for me. And it seems that my units came into someone, but probably not really. I just took the observe tower, and here is the knight, probably Russian here for the same purpose, and I see a lot of the dark blue guy from the 12 o'clock, so I don't really will to fight. But then I move my camera back and I see that he doesn't really have much, doesn't really have a lot here, so I can fight. Although my red opponent comes here too, and we are good, really neat fight, because I didn't lose a single unit, which actually even takes me in a little trouble, because I still can't summon the orc chief. That hero takes 8 food to be summoned. And I didn't lose anyone. I haven't lost anyone, so I don't really have a food to spare with the chief. So first I'll have to add the pixie, and now that it's ready, I can finally, I mean, I'll probably do it just now, hire the hero. Well, we hire units and we summon heroes, but I sometimes misspell, because obviously English isn't my nature language, but I'm trying my best. So here comes the chief, and I also use the scroll to make it faster, because normally it takes up to 45 seconds to get a tier 1 hero. Well, we don't currently have tier 2 and tier 3 heroes in the game, so every hero is tier 1, but I'm just trying to be accurate, you know. And apart from that, from the hero altar, I also have the aeronauts build. and I keep building them. In the workshop, yeah. I forgot how we called it for the dark faction. It's the factory for light, and for the dark it's called the workshop. So I am building aeronauts and the riders. That's a tough army to fight against if you play elves. But that is the case if you play elves into the mass archers. But in this game we remember that the top right guy should be building the wind mages, and the time comes where he will have the full staff, the full limit. He'll be maxed out and will move out with them, apparently. But we are up to 90 foot. I made in the last 460. I also add a lot of other stuff. I'm upgrading everything because currently I'm supply blocked, so rather than just having a lot of resources in the bank, I prefer to invest them into technologies. So I'm taking up to tier 3 rocks and tier 2 rocks and tier 2 workshop to be able to build drills and hire X-masters, which will be very important to fight against the wind mages. And also I added the second rocks and upgraded them as well, so I can really hire the units fast. I'll probably I probably also add a lot of add more slaves later on, but currently I don't do so. What I'm trying to do is to catch those copters. And I catch them with the gravity scroll. I'm trying to team up with either of my teammates, because it is a team play, you know, there is the reason why it's called that. So we are trying to play as a team. But we also see that our bottom right guy is attacking the top right opponent, but, well, he's far from us and there's no reason to move to that side. Okay, there is those wind mages, and to help out the guy I use that gravity scroll yet again. So the wind mages is being gravitated, I guess how we would call that. Anyway, they can move and they can turn, which is even more importantly, so not all of they can attack, even though they possibly can attack when being debuffed by that one, that scroll. Here I don't have another gravity because it is of the 100 mana worth, but I have X-Masters and a few Aeronauts, and Aeronauts against the Wind Mages is a very interesting matchup because Wind Mages are stronger because they have Splash, but at the same time, being mages, they attack with the magic damage, while Aeronauts are the mech units, so they have a good resistance against the magic. So whenever you are able to split them good, you are fine with the Aeronauts, and it is very important that the Wind Mage costs 450 gold, which is quite a lot, and the Aeronaut costs just 150 gold. They are of almost the same worth in lumber, but adding a couple of slaves you can mine really a lot of lumber, a lot of wood, but you are always limited in gold, especially in the team play, because there are no additional bases you can take to speed up your gold income. The only thing you can do is get in chests, but the other guys also wanna do that, obviously, and you can also use a scroll, but they don't make the income that faster. So that is why Aeronauts can really win against the Wind Mages, but you must be careful, because Wind Mages, especially the guy will cast something like the... what do we call that scroll? The Circle of Power. that scroll increases the crit chance a lot. So they can just like attack one time and destroy the full stack in one shot with that scroll. But my opponents in this game haven't used that. I just saw that scroll with the wind mages being used against me in the other games. So not really the case here, so whatever. We lost our army, but we seem to destroy the citadel for the top, the castle. He's a light, so he has the castle as the main building. So we destroyed that for the top left opponent, and since I'm entirely out of gold, I decided not to... I lost both of my heroes, so I decided not to summon the Grok, the chief, once again, because he costs 400. Rather than that, I spend 150 mana to resurrect him with the scroll, which is the interesting change. And here we have the little nice combo. I use the gravity on the wind mages, and the other guy use the rockfall, the most powerful attack and scroll. I don't really feel to use it all the time, especially in the team play. Obviously you use it quite a lot in one-on-one, but here I prefer to use the support scrolls to support me, myself, my army, and also my teammates. Here that power scroll, so you can see how it works. The other guy also sends the restoration on me, so that my X-Masters live longer, and they really do significant damage with that. Well, honestly, wind mages could still win, but I guess they withdrew from the fight because the orange guy is pushing that blue top right guy now, as we can see in the minimap. So probably the blue guy just took his wind mages back to defend his own base. So now we finish off the top left guy and are starting to push the next base. I have the catapult, so I don't really have to attack the tower. I can destroy it from the longer range, but at the same time I wanna probably engage into that forge, but it seems that my alchemist came only too close. However, catapult has already destroyed the tower, and actually I see that we have that many, so that it's not important even more if we control and micro our units or not really. So we can pretty much send them by a move and I guess win the game. So what led to that victory is being careful to each other and helping each other out. Whenever you play the team games, make sure to see what your teammates do from the beginning, because if you see them going into the fast economy, that obviously means that they will be weaker in the early game. So just be ready. It doesn't mean that you have to rally all the units there immediately, but be ready, show the awareness to be able to help when they need that. And of course, try to look on the minimap whenever you can, because it is called the team play for a reason, you know, so every time it's better when you move together, even if you feel that you don't really have much, but when you have your armies built together and summoned together, they will always have a better chance to win the engagement, even if you can add up just a couple of units. Well, it is probably the obvious thing, but many players don't do that, don't fast enough to be able to do that. But, well, just try to improve your build orders so that you don't have to think all too much and look all too much into your own base to be able to perform the basic stuff. And to learn the basic stuff, make sure to subscribe to my channel and view my videos and review the things I do. I'm not the best player on the server, of course, but it is still something that the beginners can learn. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.